beginning of the year, and like kind of that whole, New Year's resolutions type of stuff, like we're talking about, like, hey, how are we gonna get better at our game?
Yeah.
Hey, this is one of the ways. It's such a simple thing that everyone can do.
Course management.
They just don't follow.
Right. Okay. All right. Welcome everybody. Welcome back to Dynamic Golf Podcast. I'm your co-host Tim McElvanna, and with me is my fellow co-host Sean Klotz.
Hey guys, how you doing? Glad to have you. Looking forward to a good topic today, Tim.
Absolutely. So today's topic is going to be about course management. We're going to talk about some simple strategies to help you get around the course. Not too much about swing technique, but more about what mental strategies you can implement out there on the course.
I think there's, like a lot of emphasis into, hey, how am I ball striking? How is my ball striking? Am I chipping and putting well? Where's my driver going?
Yeah.
At some point, you got to score.
Correct.
That's kind of the point of the whole deal.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to stop playing, golf swing and start playing golf.
Yeah.
Just getting out there and playing.
Absolutely. So I got some different things. I'm sure you do too. It just I always love these sessions because we don't really even prep for these ones.
This is just kind of off the cuff, kind of letting everybody know stream of consciousness right now.
Yeah.
So.
Just like two guys, like you guys are on the back porch when you come in after your round, and we hear a lot of different stories and.
Absolutely. Mostly fish stories.
Right. But you hear the golfer, you'll be like, hey, how was your day? I hit 3 balls out of bounds on the same hole. Well, stop doing it. Like,
correct. Why didn't you aim a little bit to the right or to the left, or maybe even change a different club? Right.
If you keep doing the same thing with driver, let's switch to a 5-wood.
Switch to something else.
Right.
I think one of the bigger things I see, at least for course management, is people's mismanagement of setting up off the tee.
Yeah.
Just like what you were saying right there, is that a lot of people will just throw the golf ball down in the middle of the tee and not think about, if you're going to be playing a fade or something like that, aim to the right side of the tee box, as I was taught. If you're going to play a draw, get to the left side of the tee box.
Absolutely.
It's just that little extra mental thought that you have out there that's going to, keep the ball in balance for you.
Right. I think it's amazing, and we're not being arrogant when we talk about this. It's just part of the reason why we shoot in the 70s, and some of our players that we teach don't. Honestly, they're having trouble breaking 90.
Yeah.
How do I break 90? How do I break 100? Whatever that answer is, right?
Yeah.
How do I break 80? Because there's different things that are going to factor into all those.
Absolutely.
So you play with that gentleman or lady, and they're trying to. You're doing a playing lesson with them. And like you say, T-Mac, they just tee it up in the center of the tee box, and there's a tree 30 yards off the tee box on the left-hand side. And they hit a fade.
Yes.
So, utilize the entire tee box.
Absolutely.
Go to the right side. Know you're going to play your fade. We're not going to automatically learn how to hit a draw on the second tee box.
No. So. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it kind of goes back to the point of, let's play golf and not golf swing, right?
Yeah.
You have a shot pattern that you're using for the day.
Yeah.
Tee up appropriately where it might be and play your game.
Yeah.
Quit trying to overthink it.
I think that, again, we can do the 3-hour podcast on this one topic.
Absolutely.
Golf course management. To me, as even getting a little older, it's still a point. Just like the par 5, how people approach par 5s is just a little shocking sometimes. What we see is driver off the tee box. Fine with that, no problem.
Yeah,
right?
Trying to get it down there.
Trying to get it down there. Now, the second shot is depending on skill level. Okay, I've got 210 to carry the brush or carry the water. Well, how many times do you hit 5-wood 210 yards in the air? Well, I did it one time 3 weeks ago.
Correct. And the big thing is they sit out there in the middle of the fairway thinking that they're going to hit this 250 yard or 230 yard shot, and 9 times out of 10, let's be honest, it's a duff.
Yeah.
They
into the water.
Into the water. They overswing.
Right.
Instead of taking like a 5-iron or a 6-iron and just poking it down there 180 yards or 170 yards. And making par the a little bit easier way.
Yeah. So number 7, I believe Bernadette, good par 5, good design.
Great. Yeah.
You got to kind of position your tee shot from the tee shot because you got
especially
water.
if you get those tees all the way back.
Yeah. That's right. That's different. We played that in the summer. But then from the white tees or whatever, we might have maybe 220, 210, 220 into the green. But that green narrows up. There's water left, or there's hazard left. There's cart path to the right. I would much rather have the 100-yard, 90-yard golf shot in. And I'm playing with somebody last week, and they're like, "What are you doing hitting an 8-iron for your second shot?" I said, "Because I want to hit 150 yards, so that I have 90 yards left in."
Correct.
That's it. So playing that position golf, which going to a tour level, I mean, Tiger just did that to the best degree of anyone,
Oh, well.
right? Like,
Yeah.
he won British Opens with a 2-iron.
Yep. Yeah.
Never hit driver.
Yeah, Royal Lytham.
Right? I know up in Massachusetts, when he won his second U.S. Junior amateur tournament, he hit 2-iron the entire time because he was also 15, 16 years old, so he was out driving the same kids by 30, 40 yards, but he didn't need it.
No, he didn't need it.
Position golf. That's
Correct.
Position golf. So hit to a yardage. Figure out what the yardage is that you like.
Yeah.
Right. Because even if you let's go with the same example of that par 5 where you're good drive and again you're 230 away. Right. If you hit the 5 wood and you hit it, let's call it 200 yards. Now you got a 30 to 40 yard uncomfortable wedge shot.
And let's be honest, nobody's really practicing that shot at around the greens or anything like that. So
I would also say it's a hard place to look. There's not a lot of places to practice that shot.
correct.
30 to 40 yards, 50 to 60 yards. Like, you can go hit balls on range, but you don't have a green that you're hitting it to.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what the spin's doing. You don't know when it's going to stop or if it's going to go forward or whatever.
Yeah.
So get to hey, I hit my sand wedge at 80 yards comfortably every single time. I'm good with it. Why wouldn't you just make that be your
correct
third shot?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I think you can score a lot better from that perspective. And then that bleeds into par 4s as well.
Yeah.
And
I think you're right, and it bleeds into the par 4s is that, sometimes a bogey is a good bogey too, and I think a lot of people try to recover too much with the second shot,
right.
Especially on par 4s I see.
Yeah.
And it just leads to, doubles, triples, making sure you kind of, punch out, take your medicine a little bit and lay up to a yardage where you feel comfortable, you can get it on the green and 2-putt and make your bogey.
Yep.
There is such thing as a good bogey, so
right.
make sure you strategize for that as well.
Yeah. So I mean, I know we're talking to a hopefully national audience, but we're talking to a big
Eventually,
crowd, guys. Yeah. But Silverado up here in Zephyr Hills, number 3. Like, talk me how you play that hole. Let's go from the white tees, which makes it harder to discuss about. So how do you play that hole? You don't hit driver.
No, I'm going to probably hit about a 3-wood or a 5-wood right there. I'm looking at the 150 mark. But it's a very narrow, tight little green back there. It's very long and narrow. Kind of reminds me of 16 out there a little bit too. And to be honest with you, that fairway is very narrow to hit. So it's very easy to send it over the edge right there, or you've got that big oak tree, and if you kind of miss it just a little bit, you're really looking at a punch shot up to something.
Yeah. So that hole particularly, and everyone's got this type of hole at their facility. The golf course. We're just talking about one particular hole. It's basically probably a 300 and maybe 60-yard par 4, maybe in that ballpark. But there's a big bailout to the left on that fairway.
Brantley's Landing.
Brantley's Landing. That's
correct.
Right, exactly.
Brantley's Landing.
Yeah, and there's a reason why it's no different if you're hitting a 160-yard shot from there with clear, wide view, rather than bringing in that oak tree like you're talking about that's on the far right-hand side of the fairway, or the big bottle brush tree or whatever it is in the middle of the fairway.
Yes.
So when you're trying to thread the needle, and you're a 16 handicapper, maybe that's not your comfort zone, right?
No.
Let's just get something down there. And by the way, it's going to lead me to my other point. Number 3 at Silverado is the number 1 difficult hardest hole. Yeah. So I'm a big believer. What you just said is it's okay to make a 5 there.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So again, we might have talked about this on the podcast. Don't care. It's good to hear it again. Basically, when I teach, I really like to write the score out before we actually play the 9 holes. And really base it on what that person's handicap is.
Yeah.
The 0 handicap should make par on every hole.
Correct. He should make par on every hole. But for me personally, I look at that is that on number 2, I'm trying to make birdie, and I'm going to take my bogey on number 3. So it evens out there. I hope. But it's not that I'm settling for bogey, but it's not the worst of scores, and I can make it up on the next par 3, and then there's a couple par 5s ahead.
Yeah, my buddy Crump, Ron, when we play in 2-man tournaments out there, we always said if we can get to number 5 tee box, either even or 1 over par, in a 2-man event where you're playing best ball, we're good, because we know that those first hole's a little goofy. It's it's tricky.
It is tricky,
Yeah.
especially with the water. You haven't really warmed
Yeah.
up. You're not really sure, and you've got a 7 or an 8 iron in your hands.
Yeah.
You've got to, sometimes you just send it a little long or a little short on that one.
Right. Second hole's a good par 5 but reachable, and you should be able to get up and out there. 3 is a good par 4. Like you gotta make 4, 2 good shots, and then 4 is a good par 3. So even breaking the golf course up into segments, I think something that some people don't, again, just take from this what you want from this podcast, and just take some of these pieces and start applying to your game. But this definitely, designers are pretty interesting how they design golf courses. Sometimes they just have the natural lay of the land. So 1 9 or one set of 6 holes is going to be more challenging than another set of 6 holes.
Yeah, depending on what it is,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah. So don't first of all, know what you are. If you are a 9 handicap golfer, that to me means you should make bogey on the first 9 hardest handicap holes.
Correct.
And approach it that way. So if you've got a par 4 that's a little bit long, which would usually be in that ballpark, maybe like a 420 yard par 4, and you have I'm going to give you the license that, hey, you can make bogey, because that's still going to keep you on your skill level.
And it seems like a little bit of a relief when you tell your student that, like, hey, you've got an extra stroke here,
right?
And they're like, whew, instead of saying, hey, here's a par 4, you got to make a par. And on the hardest hole, it really puts a lot of pressure on somebody who's a 9 or a 10 handicap out there. So giving them that leeway, say, hey, you've got an extra shot here, it frees them up, I think.
Yeah, so either, like you said, either tee shot world, you maybe select a different club off the tee.
Yeah, just get it down in there, get it out off the fairway.
Or second shot world, maybe we're not hitting a 4 hybrid or 3 hybrid, maybe we're just going to hit that 6 iron like you're talking about, chip it up there, and maybe make a putt, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, the great equalizer, the putter could always get hot.
Yeah, and I really try to tell my guys when, you tell them this on the first tee, okay, this is where we're going to play the course management lesson. We're going to do it this way. You're really going to commit to, you're at 9 handicap, that means you're going to shoot 81. We're going to bogey the first 9 hardest handicap holes. The last 9 handicap holes are going to be pars. We're going to pre-write the scorecard out. Here you go. Right? And then when you walk off with that 4 on the par 4, that is a handicap of 1 through 9, I will say to them, hey, nice birdie.
Correct.
And all the time, right? No, I made par. No, you don't understand the concept yet.
Yeah, right. You went 1 under what your potential is supposed to be.
It's your birdie. Yeah, it's a birdie for you.
Yeah.
I know it's a 4 on the scorecard, but you're not a 0 handicap.
Yeah.
You're not, and very few of us are, and we aren't either. I mean, we're 2s and 3s and whatever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So like you're saying, when you get to a hole, you're okay with taking the bogey on the hard hole.
Correct.
Knowing that there's other holes in the future where either, like, good point, like, hey, number 6 is another par 5 that's pretty reachable.
Especially when it's downwind.
Yeah, but you're more warmed up. You're loosened up. For me, it's about my back kind of being, a little bit looser. Hopefully went to the range. Sometimes do, sometimes don't. But even just, in the way you're playing, you're just kind of like, you're getting in the momentum of playing.
Oh yeah.
Does it make sense?
The inner athlete, you start to come out at that point, right?
You've made a putt on the first hole, second hole, so now you're starting to feel your putter a little bit. Like, I think all those things matter. They just factor into you getting into that scoring.
Well, and I think there's a reason why you see the pros out there an hour and a half before practicing. They go to the gym for an hour. They're getting their body ready to respond to what they need to do, and they get it to respond immediately off the first tee. Where most of us are we may hit a small bucket of balls, depending on what course you're at. You don't have a place to roll any putts, maybe. So those first 3 or 4 holes, we're just trying to figure out where our game is. And that's that's one of the things we got to kind of take into account as a as a higher handicapper, mid handicapper, is that you're going to have a couple holes to have to warm up to.
Yeah, I think it's so true. It really is. I think it's we don't see them what they're doing. We see them on through Golf Channel, like they're warming up. You go to any tour event, they're warming up, obviously. And then the expectation level from the golfers we talk to is, my game's not where I want it to be. Well, did you do any stretching at the house? Did you did you warm up? Did you loosen up? Did you make some swings? Did you stretch off the golf cart?
Did you get the blood flowing at least?
40 to 60-year-old, whatever.
And it's especially as you're older, right? Especially as you're older, right? I love it when you see that 60-year-old out there hasn't hit any balls. you know, you gotta warm up.
Right.
You gotta warm up.
Little side note, I would say for golf lessons, you know, when you come for a golf lesson, be warmed up.
Yes.
I know it's not shocking, but you're paying us for our time.
Yeah.
And you want to try to maximize what we're trying to do. You can't just use the first 15 minutes to loosen your body up.
I mean, that's pretty much what it is. It's a 45-minute lesson if it's an hour, 15 minutes if you get warmed up. You know, telling me, you know, I don't usually do this, duffing it, and I'm like, well, yeah, we haven't warmed up yet. Once we warm up, we'll start seeing our shot pattern and what we're supposed to do. So warming up, I think, is very vital.
Every other sport does it.
Yes.
You know, baseball players, basketball, you always see them. Just went to the hockey game last night or 2 nights ago, and you know, got there half an hour early, and every single player was out shooting at the goalie, and Vasilevsky's getting kind of warmed up, getting some shots in his face and stuff. And that's obviously, I don't know what they did the first 3 hours before that, but they were there 15 minutes prior.
Yeah.
Just shooting.
Well, I guarantee you there was a workout some point time in their day where they're out there in the gym working out. You can't be a professional athlete nowadays and not do that. So that's a big point.
So I think as we kind of get, you know, the course management side, it's, you know, we want you to break 90, 100, whatever that number is, but you've got to have a written goal, an attainable goal. One of my first questions I ask golfers when I first meet them, and we're talking about, hey, what are you trying to achieve from this golf lesson? What's your end goal? What are you trying to do? I say, you know, what are you happy with when you walk off the golf course? Meaning, what score puts you in a good mood? You're happy with whatever. Yeah. And if they tell me 82, great, no problem. Yeah. Let's go do that. So let's try to get to 79. You know. Yeah. Yeah. But if you tell me, you know, 90, that's absolutely fine. But just again, when you're shooting 96 consistently, and you're trying to shoot 90, I think it's just, you know, having that idea, having that game plan in your head of like, okay, well, what I don't like, T-Mac, this is a good one. What I don't like is, well, if I just make a bogey in the last hole and a par in the hole before that, I'm going to break 90. Well, no, we've kind of lost.
Correct. There was a lot more holes before that we could have had opportunities for too.
Right, and just just that, like now you're not doing what, you're not in the moment, you're not doing what you got you there type of thing. Like if you're having a good round and all you gotta do is make bogey and par type of thing, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I probably have some concept of where I'm at, like numbers wise, stroke wise, on 14, 15, 16. Yeah, but if the best rounds that you and I have both had, we don't even know what the score is.
Unconscious.
Right? You don't even know what you're just doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. You get done with the end of the round and you're kind of what?
Surprised.
Yeah, I shot a 72, 73, whatever it is, and you're just like, wow. Right. And it was just so much fun.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is one of those stories, and it's not an arrogant, boasty story, but it's going to kind of come out sound like that. Father's Day 2008. I was over at Green Valley Country Club. That's where I was working.
Okay.
Right? And shot 36 on the front, which was great, and everything was fine. It was just kind of a normal 36. Like I didn't even be like that. I just kind of played good.
In the zone.
Yeah. So then I go eagle on the par 4, number 10. Birdie, eagle, birdie. Right? Getting low. So 6 under through 4 holes.
Getting low.
Okay. The problem was the guy that I'm playing with on the 14th tee box. Right? You know, right? Oh my gosh, you're 6 under. I'm like, oh, don't bring all that up.
No, right? No. Then you start playing defensively.
You steer. Yeah. You just start steering it in. Yeah. And it did, you know, everything I could to get it in at a good number. But the point is, it's like the baseball pitcher who's throwing the no-hitter. You know, you don't want to know. Yeah. You just want to stay in the moment, keep swinging the golf club. I like what you said before. You kind of threw it out there, like aim for the 150 marker. There's a reason that the course designer put that there. Yes. It's a spot to aim at, and typically, most of all our listeners, if we put you between 120 and 170, you're probably okay. Yeah, absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Go practice those shots, you know, instead of, going out there pounding driver all day long. You're only going to hit, 14 of those, but you're probably going to hit a lot more irons than you are throughout the day. Hopefully, if we just talk some of our students down. Yeah, exactly. Hit 12 of them. Maybe a couple less. Right, a couple 3-woods thrown in. Yeah. So, be smart off the tee box, like you said. I love that. Use the entire tee box. Yeah. Sometimes on a par 3, you don't have to tee up exactly where the tee markers are, because maybe you want to hit a shot that goes 4 to 5 yards further. So you might want to go two club lengths back.
And use a tee on the par threes.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many times I see guys just drop the ball on a par three.
Right.
I just love Arnold Palmer's idea. If they're going to let you have a tee, use that tee.
Almost never see it on tour.
Yeah. No.
I think we're both fans of it. If you see something done on tour, we should probably be doing it.
Absolutely. Copy it.
Yeah.
Copy it. Repeat it and copy it.
Exactly. So yeah, be smart off the tee box. Select the right club. Drivers, drivers are a fine option. Obviously, we're not talking down driver. It's just if you're not hitting driver well,
Take a 3-wood.
take a 3-wood.
I mean, being 10 yards less is not going to kill your game.
No, and we've talked to some golfers who tell me that they hit their 3-wood just as far as driver,
Yes.
which is a different problem, but
That's for a different podcast.
exactly.
Right there.
Yeah, and then position yourself down the hole. Make sure you're in position, like you're saying. Just even if you're I think that there's a lot of chances of a person getting up and down better than there is a person hitting a hybrid from 180 on the green.
Yes.
So hit the 6-iron,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're 15, 20 yards away. Chip it up there, roll putt in,
Right.
go to the next tee.
Absolutely. And then keep enjoying the game instead of getting frustrated about it.
Big fan of all that. So hopefully, we got some good ideas in there for the listeners. Just get them to kind of new year, maybe kind of rethink their thoughts as they approach a golf course. Pull that scorecard up before you get there. You always have a little bit of time to look at the difficult holes
Mm-hmm.
and put it on there. Okay, hey, I'm okay to make a bogey or even a double, depending on what you're trying to break.
Depending on what your handicap is, don't be afraid to take an extra stroke or 2 extra strokes, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And use a tee out there.
Right. Yep. Use a tee. I like that. So
Okay.
that's good, man.
So want to thank you once again, Dynamic Golf Podcast here. We're really enjoying bringing you the content. I'm your co-host, Tim McElveen, with Sean Klotz.
Hey, T-Mac, this has been great. We're looking forward. We got the PGA show coming up in 2 weeks, so
Yes.
we'll get some good, hopefully some good guests and also just some good reports and some of the stuff coming up. It's cool to see the PGA back in action.
Yes.
Sony Invitation was last week, and it's a different winner.
Well, a lot of news in the world of PGA, right? The PGA started back up. Tigers left Nike. Probably getting a new caddy.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting this time of year, I think.
It's different. So it's hard to almost follow where the guys are at now. Like Rom's with the Live Tour, and
I need a program just to keep up with everything.
Exactly. No, but it's good stuff. Good time to be a golfer. It will get better in Florida. We know it hasn't been the greatest weather, but
weather's been a little trash.
it's snowing up north, so we can't whine about it too much.
Exactly.
And guess what? If you can't play outside, you come indoors.
Come on over here, One Stop Golf Shop.
That's it, exactly. So, anyways, look forward to the next one, T-Mac, and good luck to you guys. Just think your way through the golf course a little better.
Thank you, and have a great day.